you next November.
Thanks
Phil.
all.
Bye, Ion.
Thanks,
Bye.
Phil. Thanks for staying up all night, Phil.
Bicycle.
Thanks, Bob. Thanks, Ion. Thanks, Carolyn.
All participants are now unmuted.
So I unmuted everybody. Scott.
Yeah.
You don't recognize the newness. When you do your geometry, you don't recognize the aspects of what I'm saying in your geometry. You're using the old stuff. And I am on
some of it,
level.
Yeah, it's probably true. I got to go back and listen to it again. I didn't. Some of those things I didn't get.
Yeah, I do
what?
too. I go back and do it. I go back and listen to it too, man. I didn't get all of it done this week, but I will try to get as much as possible of today's show repeated because it's there was less echo this time for some reason. Ian was in the other room, so less echo on for me to hear. But anyways, we aren't hearing what is being said. You re-listen to it, and then on top of that, Ian is changing the archives. Maybe he'll make it better when you re-listen to it. You'll better understand it.
Yeah, there was a thing where I was in like kind of another state or something like that, and I'm pretty sure I heard Ian say to me, "Shut up," and then I was waiting for him to say something else, and he didn't. And then and then when I was listening tonight, and I felt the urge to say something, and the lights flickered, and I figured, well, you know, that's either the tech body or it's Ion saying that my intuition of not to say anything is correct, and so I wasn't going to say anything, and I sort of said to myself, well, I'm not going to say anything until the lights flicker again, and the fucking lights went completely off. And so did the computer and everything. I mean, everything went off. Wow. And I had to reboot everything. And so I figured, okay, now it's time for me to say something. So.
And when did you say something then, or is that now?
Yeah, no, that was when you unmuted me and you know, I asked those questions about the geometry and about those. Yeah.
A few hours. Well, I don't know. We didn't give Brent much opportunity to say anything. So what do you say, Brent?
Hi, Bob. I don't have all that much to say.
Well, you should be excited.
I'm always very excited. Still doing those OA movements. Actually, Bert exposed me to some pretty cool audios. I think they're from 2011. They're old RNA drop audios, and those are excellent.
Yeah. You were talking to him privately, or he emailed you?
We were just emailing, and it's kind of that whole process of you miss it the first time, and then you go back and you listen, and you're like, wow, that was all laid out, and it's actually quite simplified and pretty shocking.
And this is about the RNA drops?
Yes, it is. You know, one of the biggest things that I was missing when Ian talks about the lipids in the lymphatic system, I didn't realize that they were making connections to almost like the way cancer metastasizes. Like it's a lot more like than I ever assumed. Quite simple, and the electron transferring through those systems. And like Bert told me, he goes, you know, Bob and Carolyn, they, you know, we're on their level that they were on maybe 5 years ago or even before that. So you go back in these old ones, and you're like, what the fuck? Wait, Ion's pretty much flat out telling people that RNA drops are going to alter you like cancer. Like, that's pretty much
Yeah.
what they're saying. And it's just, yeah, it's shocking. It's crazy.
I told you, Brent. I told you. It's cool.
And it's
really cool.
The R-ness before the isness with the RNA drops is cool too, because you're like, oh shit, okay, so something, even when you don't think anything's going on, something's going on, and you're going to catch up to it. And I think the OA movements are the same thing now, because I was getting frustrated, like, why isn't anything happening? But now I get it that maybe something is going on, and I just have to catch up to it.
Yeah. And the wasness, did you hear the wasness? Arness?
I did not hear the wasness.
Okay, you got that
I've
one
never
too.
heard that before.
Another element, great.
What's the wasness?
Yeah, that's Maverick. Never heard the wasness.
No, I haven't.
I have. They match up. Made a little chart. Let's see if I can bring it up. Wasness, basic structure. Listen to this. Wasness is the autonomic system. Arness is the hypothalamus. Isness is the heart. So biologically, autonomic system is wasness. It's so fast that you can't keep up with it, so it's faster than the speed of light, I guess, and everything is was. It already happened in the autonomic system on that level. And then the hypothalamus, that's the important part. That's arness. And then the vague heart is just isness. Anything can be isness.
What do you mean anything could be isness?
Isness is the state before you get to arness. You don't know anything until it's arness. Isness is the potential of everything.
I thought it was the other way around. Okay.
I don't think so.
Huh.
Could you say that again? Could you say that again?
Autonomic system is wasness. Hypothalamus is arness, A-R-E-N-E-S-S. And the heart is isness. So everything is, but you don't know it until you know it, and then it's an arness.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You're right, Bob. Yeah.
So, Bob, that means that the hexatic is the hypothalamus, or arness.
The what is?
The hexatic.
The allopathic?
Hexatic.
Hexatic is arness? No, hexatic is wasness.
It's not arness?
The wasness is everything already happened. That's the hexatic.
It's a preclusion.
Preclusion, I guess. I don't know. To preclude means to leave out. So is that what you mean by preclusion?
I thought it was beforehand. It's not the end. Anyway, yeah, it comes before everything else. In other words, it's already, it comes before everything else. It precludes everything else.
It's faster than the speed of light. It's the neutrino.
Okay. And that's
so
interdimensional,
everything already
right?
happened. What?
Right. I said that would be it's already happened. I mean, it's go ahead.
Already happened. You know, in the early years, I decided that Ion's philosophy was the philosophy of the autonomic system, that the autonomic system was speaking when we listened to Ion. So from Ion's perspective, everything had already happened. Ion is wasness. Right. And you can fit that all over the place, but Ion does a lot more than just being something you categorize it. You can't limit Ion to anything. So we learned that the hypothalamus is more important than the heart. So that's arness.
Yeah.
And then the heart is everything, but it's like nebulous. It's an airhead organ. So it's just mere issues. Is this Scott or Maverick?
I've never heard of that. I've never heard it quite put that way. That's an original.
No, that's Maverick. This is Scott.
Yeah, Maverick is saying it's an original. Well, Maverick is full of compliments for me all the time, but you didn't do too well on your questioning. You sound like you were smoking dope or something there, Maverick. You were too wild.
No. What I have with Ion, and I always have, and I'm getting over it, is the fact that whenever I'm actually online and I'm speaking, I'm like a deer in the headlights. I just freeze up. My brain goes. It just goes off, and
Yeah,
what's
it doesn't
that?
happen to everybody. Maybe it's a freak. You should ask Ian. Some people, it's like an astrological sign. A particular frequency gets deer lighted.
I've had that every time I've encountered Ion. In fact, I think the last time I encountered Ion, I was so frozen that I think Bert interceded, and that was when Bert was first, from my memory, was part of the group. And I finally got a chance to call, and Bert helped me out. I mean, he was helping my questioning, and I was just dumbstruck because it was interesting for me, and this might have been an illusion on my part. Was I thought that I could feel them coming into my energy field. It was so fucking weird, it just blew my mind. And I don't feel that any longer, but I did at the time. It was like some intrusion into my energy field, and I just fucking rocked my world. And it might have been an illusion, I don't know. Anyway.
Hey, Maverick, I had that for a year. I had that for a year, engaging Ion. You have to keep just engaging, and then you're actually gaining more confidence in your non-physical yourself. So at first you get nervous, but that's something that you have to get over because they're there to help you. And by you formulating your questions, you get used to it, and then it becomes normal. But I was like that for the whole year. From when I first engaged Ion in February 2014 all the way into like the beginning of 2015, I was like nervous like a church in whore. A whore in church.
Yeah, a church in whore.
Yeah.
Right.
Really nervous. Really nervous. But that's, you get used to
that. Maverick is a loner. He's actually, he might think he's better than people and he hates crowds, so he's a loner. But he's built up a big armor, and he doesn't really want non-physical to come in and touch him.
Ah,
you might have had
okay.
that as an athlete first. You might have had isolated black man in Switzerland.
You know what's interesting? Okay, you know what's interesting? What I find interesting is that I left California and I just said, I don't know where the fuck I'm going. And so I've been having this internal conversation the whole duration, okay? From my journey to California, not really knowing where I'm going, except for I'm going to go to the south because it just felt right. So I ended up in Arkansas, and the whole trip I would ask this other part of me that directed me, and so as a result of 2 months of traveling through the South, I've ended up in some place I didn't expect, but it's perfect for what I desired. So this interaction with a part of me that my mind is arguing with, and at the same time I've acquiesced with, I've ended up in the place that was what I desired. I'm having a great time. I've just landed, so that was one of the reasons I've been able to finally call in, because when you're going from hotel to motel or whatever and you're trying to connect on the internet and all that stuff, it just doesn't work out. And Skype, I'm just learning this too, so I'm finally in a position after the last, 10 years where I'm actually able to call in and participate. And that's one of the questions I wanted to ask Ion, was why I was so separated from the beginning. And maybe you're right. Maybe it's still my integration with non-physical that's has prevented my interaction in the past. I've turned into this, like I said, a professional lurker, know, I've been listening to every flipping show probably. I know all the participants, but it's like a show at the same time. You know, it's the best show on earth. I don't really listen to anything else because there's nothing else relevant, and I've never had anybody that I can even converse with. As much as I've tried, they all think I'm fucking nuts. And so after a while, you become alienated. I mean, you ask Suzanne, Ion asked Susanna tonight, I'm thinking, well, fuck, who the fuck's she going to talk to, you know? I mean, I can have fatted communion till the fucking cows go home, man. But at the same time, real communication is something I've yearned for all my life. And it's just fucking hard, and especially when you get out into this fucking place we're at, you know? The only people, in fact, this one person that has stayed listening to me, even though she persisted for so long saying, well, Bob is Ion. They sound like the same. And I don't like the rude way, and I'm listening to this shit. But for some reason, she's still listening to me for 2 years, so I'm thinking, well, you know, she's still listening, so there must be some frequency we're engaging on that I should be communicating this stuff to her, you know? And, but that was the closest interaction, or even, you know, my mom, when I was doing the drops with, she didn't fuck, she's a common she's just a simple person, and yet, you know, I just sent her the magnesium special that Bert was relayed to earlier.
What are you saying about your mother? You didn't finish it.
Well, my mother. What happened is that I was in really bad
story.
place.
What is she? Dumb?
Okay,
smart,
no story.
Stupid?
No, she's smart as like she's a common person. She's a farm person. She's got horse sense, as Ian would say. Okay, this stuff doesn't make any sense to her. The drops didn't work for her from her perspective, even though I saw results. But the magnesium has results that she's able to appreciate. So that's the answer to your question succinctly. You know. Anyway, so apart from this, that's part of where I am right now, and this has always been my place of go-to for a long time. And I feel like I'm at home.
Yeah, did you enjoy the reunion?
Oh, that was fucking amazing. Jesus Christ. I couldn't believe it. When Ion mentioned a couple of weeks ago that Brian was coming back, I was going, oh shit, he might, you know, this will be interesting. I didn't expect Tina. That was the one that I didn't expect.
Yeah. That was a surprise.
You know, the other ones I could relate to, but it was just great.
She doesn't sound well.
But actually, she sounded kind of the same to me. But I wasn't.
She didn't sound well to me. Tina did not sound well, healthy to me.
Right. Yeah.
I don't think
sound weak.
They may be listening.
No, they're not.
The grapevine, they were.
They're not on the phone. They might be on the computer. Anyways, they came back for a reunion, and we did a roast. I did a fucking roast.
Oh man! You know what? You do not want to cross Bob. You definitely.
Yeah, Bob. You were pretty hard on him. You were pretty hard on him.
They deserved it. They're going to get more next time they show up.
And you know what? Alyssa was brilliant. She was brilliant with her questioning and her depth of comprehension. And Bert, you were awesome as well. You were so eloquent. You were saying all the right stuff. I think they were blown away. They were fucking blown away by.
Yeah, I think Alyssa converted Brian to come back.
Yes, he did. Yes, she did. She did that. Yes.
I think Brian. I think he's intending to come back. I sincerely think he's going to participate.
Well, he realized he didn't recognize one fucking thing that Alyssa was saying, and he thought he knew it all.
Right. Blew him away.
Well,
and then to hear that Brian hadn't been taking restructure, and
I was shocked.
he was the one. I was totally I was incredible. I was, what? He was so into all his changes, all his body stuff. And I thought he would have kept it going. Even, I mean, it was just clear he was not listening to any of it when he left. He wasn't even visiting the archives. And, like, why? I don't understand why. Why?
I was with you, Suzanne.
Well,
I'm curious as to why did he call in? I mean, what happened? Was it the grapevine thing or what?
I've been calling for him in the ethers for months.
Well, I guess some of them were listening, and they probably...
I did call Brian, but he told me for 6 weeks to call Brian, but I didn't.
Right, but Allison's been listening, and I'm sure she was probably in contact with that group and said, "Hey, we should call in. It's getting good again. Yeah. Call in."
Maybe Jenny contacted him. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, actually, he said that he hadn't talked to her in a long time.
Okay. Well,
it was someone. Yeah.
Somebody
got
him.
You had Allison, Sheila, Tina. Anybody else besides Brian?
And that was it.
That's the reunion, right? 3 women. Well, Brian talked to all 3 of them.
Yeah, but I got the impression.
No, he didn't.
Who said no? He did.
Fucking. I didn't.
Bob, you're really low, so it's hard to hear you. So that's why we're struggling to get your jokes.
Yeah, this is
I got it.
JW's lousy phone.
I got it too.
Atlanta, Georgia. Who said he didn't? Who said that? Maverick?
No. I didn't hear.
Protest.
No, that was. I didn't hear you say fucking. That was the thing that threw me off.
Who protested?
Zach.
I won't say anything. I'm not saying anything.
Bart protested. Bart protested.
Hey, Bob, do you have fans blowing where you are?
No.
Yeah, I can hear that too.
That's Scott.
That's Scott.
Maybe.
It might be. I've got I'll turn it off.
No, it's not that. It's not that bad.
Here's the point. Whoever protested, no, you didn't. They tracked all that. They knew who fucked who, and it violated their mapping. That's what they're really interested in. Was it
well, I did.
Who protested? Was it Bart?
No, I did. I'm just. But you know, I did hear. Did Sarah Landucci say that she had? She was screwing Matthew Hurtado?
No, I said that.
Oh.
Well, here's the amazing. I'm sorry, I don't mean to segue, but I'm going back to what we were talking about before. Ion did a whole rant of all the amazing things that have happened to Bert, that Bert has gone through, that Bert has done, both physically and just with his stuff. I mean, pavement breaking under his feet, and talking to the angels. The angels are mad at him. He's warding off angels. I mean, Ion is coaching him. And you ask Allison, do you have any questions of Bert? Yeah, Bert, how big are you? Like, is that her question? Like, what? What? After all the amazing things that Ion laid out that she could have probed, that she could have gone into and had more interesting conversation, she said, wow, you seem like you're a Goliath. You see, how large are you? How big are you?
That's
like,
that's true. I had the same reaction.
Who asked that? Allison?
Yeah, Allison, yeah.
Yeah, they're all dim.
No, I had the same. I had the same reaction.
Allison's a total narcissist.
You know,
she never fucking learned anything. Sheila's a ridiculous old-fashioned painter who doesn't know how to fucking paint anything real. And Tina's a basket case, and Brian is okay. I like Brian.
You know, what was interesting for me was it was similar to having a recollection of a TV show that I watched as a kid or, you know, when I was younger, and then revisiting it and going, you see, it had it was germane for the time, but it's kind of rusty. It's not as funny because of when it happened. Yeah. And I kind of got that sense because when the interaction was taking place, it was a chemistry between a lot of the people. It wasn't so much a subject matter. It was just a chemistry. And what I really enjoyed was the chemistry always between you and Brian and Ion. It was just, and Ginny too, There was this, Brian is so opposite of you that it just evens your personality out. It just makes it on an even playing field because they're all relevant for what they're saying, from their perspectives. So, anyway.
You're saying that when you go back and look at an old house you lived in 40 years ago, it looks tinier, looks smaller.
Right.
These people look smaller when in the reunion.
They did to me. And I've been following it for a long time as just listening. And it was fun to listen to them again, but that was my feeling. I went, oh my God, Bob's right. This is like, and you were really bolstering up the second and third generation, and I thought that was great because, the thing that I really enjoyed was what Brent said about you taking over Coach House, the new Coach House. When it first came on, I was like, oh shit, McLuhan, But and I thought I'd get into it all with McLuhan on Maui because I listened to McLuhan on Maui, And it was funny was that at a certain point, just before, like a year before it came on, Ian came back. I went, this is fucking great shit, And I didn't miss Ion. Then when Ion was coming, I knew he was going to come back, and part of me was going, oh no, because I didn't want to hear all the, where's my money checks coming from, and I didn't want to have to listen to that shit again because, 60% of it is, it's kind of like Carolyn's show, It's like, anyway, it's not the same now, but that was what I was expecting.
Well, you know what,
right.
Maverick, I agree so much with you. I was getting into the Bob when you go into McLuhan and Thompson and all that stuff, it just somehow makes more sense than any of the other recordings. I don't know why, but this past time without Ion, it was so much clearer to me. And I tried to listen to some of the Maui stuff, McLuhan on Maui, and I couldn't because it was just too academic or too. You kind of make it more real, Bob. You make it more understandable. So,
but if you go back now, have you gone back? Sorry to cut you off, but have you gone back?
To where?
McLuhan on Maui. Right.
No, I haven't. You think it'd be easier to take now?
It'll make more sense. In fact, start off with McLuhan on Maui 33. I think that's the last one. That's my favorite because there's a lot of Ion in there, but there's a lot of McLuhan and Bob. It's really the scale. But all of the McLuhan Maui's are great to listen to.
Oh,
it helps you. Bob's knowledge develops your range. You have a range of history that you do not get in a fucking university. You're fucking dumb in university.
No, absolutely not. Right.
It gets range that you can talk to anybody about anything and sound like an authority, but you're just repeating what you've heard Bob and what you've read, and you just give your own formula summary and throw it at them, and it just busts their head open. Not that you want to do that, but in public emphatic, a lot of people, like what you said, Susanna, when you went to the class reunion, everybody tries to one up on their conversation about family, what they're doing and shit. You can interject something, about what was going on in the 17th century with LaRouche. You learn from LaRouche, and then they look at you like, what the fuck did you say?
Yeah. Oh, that happens all the time. I don't even try. Whatever I say, they look at me like I have three heads or something. It's like, what the hell? Where is she coming? What is going on? Who is this person? She does not fit in.
I know that.
A good one to say to families? A good one to say to families, you can't. A family that has a car cannot be a family. That's what McLuhan used to say.
Yeah,
Because
because
the people start to fragment when they get their driver's license. The wife, the kids, it breaks apart the family.
Yes.
Unless they only have one car, then they'll have to be
What?
in there together. Unless there's only one car, then they'll have to drive there everywhere together.
I think he said one car. He might have said two car. But
One.
I think he meant one
If there's
car.
a-
Just look at what the car does. The car, the guy's got to use it to go to work, and then he's fragmented. It's a house on wheels. He can have a whole life the family knows nothing about, and the kids can do that, and the wife can do that once she gets her license.
Yeah, but I think that what's more divisive was the TV set. TV set when I was a kid was what really everybody started. The TV set was most disruptive from my perspective in growing up. In dividing families.
Yeah.
I grew up on a cattle ranch and wheat farm, and I had a friend that I grew up with named Chris Jurgensen, who basically we had the same girlfriend for a while, and he moved down to the Colville Indian Reservation and moved out in the woods, and he still lives there with his Indian girlfriend, and he won't have a phone, and he doesn't have a radio or a TV set or anything like that. He just refuses to own one. So he's basically become like a Neolithic. I mean, he built his own house out of logs and stuff like that, And I was thinking it'd be interesting to go and talk to him and find out, like, he's still pretty erudite, but he hasn't experienced any of the direct effects of any of these media since basically about 1967 or 68. He's been living out in the woods the whole time.
Yeah, go see
him. It'd be interesting.
Well, you're in the same boat in civilization. You got no money. You can't go anywhere.
That's true. Yeah.
I've been there.
So, so Susanna, you were saying, I don't know. I just use that on your friends. Just tell them you can't have a car and have a family. They all think they're super families, They don't really know they're family. Now the families have
Bob,
2 cars.
What's an interesting thing
and
is
phones.
that now that the kids now aren't really interested in getting a driver's license and driving, but they
you get more
call.
experience on your black mirror.
Well, what they do is they use a black mirror and they call Uber or Lyft and have themselves picked up and taken wherever they want to go, but they don't have to drive. They're not.
They have to cram all the black mirror experience into 24 hours. So if they don't drive, they can keep looking at their black mirror.
Exactly.
Wow, that's an interesting observation. That's true.
Yes.
Plus, a lot of them, I noticed with my nephews, is that they spend an awful lot of money just going out to eat. They go out to eat all the time, and they don't realize how much of their disposable income is going to that stupid thing,
Who's saying that? That's Maverick?
That's Maverick, yeah.
Yeah. Look at, they say they don't like football. Probably the things they don't like are too distracting from the black mirror. Football, you have to watch it. There's a lot going on. You can't just keep looking down at your black mirror. So you can find, they list what they don't like, and it's probably the things that are very hard you have to pay attention to them to keep up. You can't be looking at your black mirror constantly.
No, that's not true, because well, at least in my case with my nephews, is they love football. They're football fanatics, but they spend all their time on the black mirror to find out how their fantasy football is going.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
I mean, it's that is just blows my mind.
Yeah, I don't
it's
know
like
if they don't like football. I think it is football, but there's some regular All-American things they don't. The marketers say, oh, they're not into that. I know one is a driver's license. They're not into that, so maybe it's another sport.
Well, Bert? Do you still follow football?
No, I don't. I'm allergic to all professional sports. I don't even. I might do it to YouTube and see what's going on in the Super Bowl, but it's a good thing it's on like 5-minute clips. But for me to sit and watch a fucking professional football, professional sports, I couldn't understand it when I played, how people could sit in the stadium and watch people be active. And, 30 years later, that's a different animal for me to go sit, for someone to go sit.
You also know that they're all killing themselves, bashing their heads and all that.
Yes, it's stupid to follow professional sports, because you look at them, most professional athletes, as they get older, all they do is talk about how they used to play, how good they were.
Yeah.
They haven't.
Except for.
And I can't relate to that anymore. I cannot relate to that anymore at all. It's really just it's like an allergy to me.
Bert, I was way back in the 50s. People say, hey, Bob, you watching the game? I said, I don't watch fucking sports. I do sports. And I would play in all the stupid amateur leagues. I'd play amateur football, tag football, ball hockey. That's how I ran all over the fucking place. Didn't know the fucking rules. Didn't understand anything. They asked me to coach. Them. I don't know the fucking rules. I just run around,
Yeah, that's for athletes. That's what I heard Bob say those stories. Said that's a natural athlete. You just like, okay, what are you doing? Okay, I can run, do. You just do it. And that's how I learned sports. That's the way. Yep. That's how you learn.
But professional sports, to me, that reminds me, it's like modern day gladiators. It's like these sports, these athletes are out there getting paid huge amounts of money, but they're paid to kill themselves, essentially, because a lot of them do. Yes. They get so injured, then they're just thrown aside, and then brain injuries are really a problem. And it's just, I find it to be pretty pathetic. It's like, how did this society...
99% of the brains that were autopsied from NFL players had that CTE, okay? That brain disease. 99%. So all those stupid guys you see on the news talking about, I'm going to do this in the air, like, you won't fucking be living 15 years from now.
Wow. But it's so pervasive from being a little kid.
What?
I'm just saying that from it, especially where I live in the South, in Texas, football is king.
Football.
Everything revolves around football. I mean, your social status is based on, did you play football? Do you have children that are going to be playing football? Are they playing football now? Are they in the right schools to be playing football? I mean, it's crazy. And
you? I'm from Texas.
But it's just, and then you look at the schools and the money that gets diverted into
football
sports,
factories.
And not just all sports. It's only football, and they build for high schools these incredible stadiums for the game.
Shut up! You're going to get more and more depressed. Shut up.
I have a comment.
I don't know.
Listen, Susanna, I want to tell you my greatest athlete moment. I was standing in the lineup for a club in Toronto, and there was this big guy in front of me. And I asked him, I said, hey, buddy, is the line moving? He turns around, he looks at me, and he's like 7-8 feet tall, and he looks at me and he decides, well, maybe I'll answer you. And he says, I don't know. Then a little later, Don or somebody says, you know who that is? I said, no, that's Phil Esposito.
Wow.
Whoa.
Remember Phil Esposito? I think he was the captain of the Blackhawks.
Yes. Yeah.
Hockey king.
Anyways, he was and I didn't know who he was. I said, hey, buddy, is this line moving? He slowly turned. This fucking giant looked down at little runt Bob, and he looked at me, sized me up, and then he says, I don't know. Then he slowly turns away, and Don is laughing his head off because I didn't know it was Phil Esposito. I
But that's how to
guys.
treat professional athletes. That's how you treat professional. That's how I always treat, because I knew some, but I would just act like them, the everyday guys. Some of them appreciate it, but some of them egos are tender that they like. You don't know who I am? I'm like, no.
Right.
Yeah.
Just to fuck with them.
But when when I was a kid, go ahead. When I was a kid, professional athletes had to have, they had to have another job in the off season. And what's interesting is that they played for the love of the game, and the same things that I got from playing sports. I played, a couple of years in college. I didn't ever get to where Bert was, but in fact, in football, the bull in the ring, you know what I'm talking about, Bert? You ever do that?
Yes.
Bull in the ring?
Yes.
And that's what changed my fucking mind, because getting my bell rung, I'd never got my bell rung. And I was the smallest guy on the team, and I'm going up against these linebackers, and I just said, this is stupid, But baseball is a different story. And what was interesting is that, I just loved the game, and I just loved it so much that when I wasn't able to play it anymore to my satisfaction, I do miss it. And when I watch it, I get a vicarious enjoyment from watching a good baseball game. So, anyway.
Alyssa, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I was thinking about how, like, what you can talk to people about, like sports, movies. I bet we could make a chart of, like, all the basic topics of what people talk about. It wouldn't take very long. And
no,
that's the kind of, like, that's what fascinates me with the Iondom thing, because Ion, like Bob says, has so much innovation, inspiration, can speak so freely and improvisationally, and things you've never heard before. And so here we are engaging with this rhombic dodecahedron with like zillions of vortexes and angles. And then you go and you interact with people at work and you're like, we only got freaking 12 things to talk about. Like, this is so, it's just
if
so
that.
much more. Yeah, not even that many.
Right.
But I find myself, like, if I don't open up to the Iondom and McLuhan topics, I'm like, wow, these people really care about their memes, and they really care about sports, and they really, because they haven't found something beyond that, that gives them a feeling of purpose or whatever. So, yeah, I was just riffing on the sports comments and realizing you could probably parcel it down to a few different angles of conversation.
Yeah, I think Carolyn and Bob laid something out like 4 years ago, and it tickled the shit out of me, because it's like, we talk about quadrophenia, but then there's like 4 different phases. You got to be a scientist, comedian, an artist, and a jock, and you rotate between those 4.
That's
because
great.
You have to deal with those 4 elements. I mean, you've got to be a scientist, because this is definitely not, this is totally new science. But then you also have to be an artist and be creative in how you're going to present it, and just looking at the whole things of what Bob has laid out. And then that's the jock. You've got to take care of your meat sack, because if you don't, you're not going to enjoy your life.
Right.
And then the comedian is just to be able to have fun with the other 3. For me, that's how I look at it. But it's like, it's really fun to be odd. That's the thing, to say weird things. And especially with me speaking a second language, I can do it, but I don't get to do it as much. But when I do, it's like a showstopper, but no one follows up because they don't know what to say.
Yeah. Just kind of.
It's rare to find somebody that follows up on any of that stuff, really.
Yeah.
To get into any depth.
That's true.
Because people in general are not very bright as far as, well, they're bright within their own venue, but anything outside the box, if they might be intimidated because they don't know what the hell you're talking about, and they feel like they should, or or they don't have the mental capacity to understand that. But some of the things like surfing and sports comes from a visceral, or even the martial arts. It just comes from a desire, and I think for me, it's just it's something you just do because you love doing it. And that's hard to articulate. It's hard to articulate to somebody who doesn't understand. I perfectly understand the joy that Bob gets from surfing, being a surfer myself, and that's what I ended up doing for 25 years, and it's just, I miss that. I miss that connection, because it was the hardest thing I'd ever done to learn, and also just that integration with the water, and it's just incomprehensible to anybody who hasn't done it to understand the joy that somebody gets from that. So anyway, I just threw that in there. Apparently.
That's the hard.
It's not an intellectual.
I share the same thing. Like when I learned martial arts, I learned martial arts at a later age. I was like the oldest and the biggest guy in the class, and the young kids used to kick my ass. But I didn't care, and I did it. But then after I stayed longer and longer, then I was, the kind of like medium-sized guy that could kick the little guys and the big guys' ass. But it was hard. It's hard. But it's really
that's
fun to be able to do that in exchange, and then you learn how to fight two people, which was fun. So it's something different that you've never engaged, but it's fun to something complex like surf. Something you have to integrate more than one element.
In my 20s. I got my black belt in my 20s, so I can understand where you're coming from, especially playing football also, because I went through that phase. It was just when I was a kid in high school, you either had to be a jock or you had to be an intellectual, and I tried to smooth, because I appreciated all of them, but it's really easy to get stereotyped and have to stay into this fucking peer group bullshit, and I was good at what I did as far as sports, so I stayed there because of my comfort zone, and I got a lot of perks from it. But after you get out of high school and college, it's like, oh, what the fuck, Anyway.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I was a jock, but I got along with the thespians, the actors. I got along with the dope heads. I got along with everyone, but I kind of took offense my senior year. I remember, I'm just reflecting on this. It used to irritate me. They used to call dumb jocks. So I used to get the little intellectual guys, and I played quarterback in high school and college. So when someone would say a dumb jock, I would just call out a play that I knew. I said, well, do you know what a rip formation, an 80-29 waggle is? No. I said, well, then don't call them fucking dumb jocks, buddy. You just don't fucking know.
Mm-hmm.
I used to get really irritated with that jock thing, because I'm like, yes, you could say that, but a lot of times it's not what you think. There is some strategy, but that's, years gone by.
What's interesting was when you were making your commentary, I was thinking, the dude you said you were a receiver, but I was thinking the guy has a field of vision of a quarterback. In other words, a field of vision of what's going on, integrating, and you're using that faculty, from my perspective, in your ion, with this group, in this environment.
Yeah, I never thought about that, but that is true. That is true.
I never had that field of vision.
Everyone. Quarterback has to know.
And you have to be able to see the field.
I could play all the positions when I played football. I could kick, I could punt, I could do all of the positions as a quarterback. So, you learn that. But I could play soccer, I could play basketball, baseball, anything that had to do with the ball, like what Bob said. If you just like, okay, if the ball's a ball, I can learn. I even took a class in high school with the girls. I played field hockey. I took a field hockey course. The girls kicked my ass, but I did the best I could. But I was afraid of that stick in that ball. That field hockey's rough. That's not as easy as you think, the field hockey. That's pretty rough. You know about lacrosse? Lacrosse?
Yeah.
Lacrosse.
One of my lacrosse, it was something because in Southern California where I was, they didn't have it, but I wish they had it. Because I was a big I was into Jimmy Brown when I was a kid, and he played lacrosse at Syracuse, and I was like, we don't have this. I can't play this, and I was bummed about that. Anyway, I watched it on TV every once in a while.
Hockey's rough as well. Hockey and lacrosse with that stick, man. I'm like, man, that's you got to take your hat off to that. That's rough. That's rough. That's a tough.
Well, when Bob talks about hockey, I never played hockey either, and I admire the finesse of that game. It's completely foreign to me, but he played it, so I thought, Jesus Christ, I was trying to imagine Bob running around fucking, with a hockey stick.
That's awesome.
Skating
I was
around.
good at it. I was good at it. So
no,
listen,
you
guys,
say you were.
Go.
I don't doubt.
Anyways, I gotta go. So no show on Tuesday. No show next Saturday. I don't know what happens in the week after that. So stay tuned.
Okay, Bob.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Thanks,
All right.
Bob.
Good
Talk
luck
to you
with
later,
Club
Bob.
Life.
Thank you, Bob.
Yep.
Bye,
Thanks so much, Bob.
Congratulations.
Bye, Carolyn.
Thanks,
Thanks, Diane.
Carolyn.
Good morning.
Diane.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks, JW.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, JW.
Bye.
Bye, JW. Bye, Ion.
Bye.
Thank you.
Nice talking to you all.
Thank you, Ion.
Is Carolyn
Bye,
still
Sherry.
Bye, Bob.
Bye.